I'm going to be honest. This was not a banner week for comic books, whether it be on the indie scene, Marvel, DC. But there are a few comic books that we should talk about and recommend as we go through the best comic books of the week. We're going to hit the indies. We're going to hit Marvel. We're going to hit DC, just like we always do. And with me is Drew from Comics Lead. How you doing, Drew?
Doing great, Wes. Glad to be here. Glad to talk about a few nuggets, a few gold nuggets.
Did you have the same feeling I did coming out of this week, where it was like, ugh?
Yeah, because we read on our channel Comics Lead at least between 30 to 40 comics a week, and when I got to about the halfway point, I only had like 2 for my top 10 I could recommend. I'm like, this is going to be rough, but fortunately, there were some good ones.
Yeah, it's nothing was just so terrible for the most part. It was just they were all just kind of stuck there in the middle. Nothing was standing out. But there are some comic books we think you should be checking out. We're going to hit the indies first. Me personally, I'm going to go with the Geiger 80-page giant. I'm not the biggest fan of anthologies, to be completely honest. But this is the introduction and really the coming out party of the shared Geiger universe that we have under Mad Ghost from Geoff Johns at Image Comics. We know this was going to be its own imprint at DC Comics. He ends up moving it over there. We got Geoff Johns, Peter J. Tomasi, Gary Frank, Brian Hitch, Paul Pelletier. So they spent some money on this comic book. They brought in some good talent. The big part of this was introducing some of these new characters, specifically Redcoat, and we certainly learned some more about Junkyard Joe that are supposed to kind of whet the appetite and getting you ready for this kind of cool shared universe. It's a little different in the fact that there is a timeline when these characters start appearing, and they don't exactly appear to overlap. What Geoff Johns is doing with this Geiger universe under Mad Ghost is really interesting, and certainly, Redcoat and Junkyard Joe, I think they did the trick. They look cool.
I completely agree, because taking this and comparing it to other 80-page giants, that DC, Marvel have done, this is one of the better ones, if not the best one. And granted, this one there were a few stories in here that were clunkers for me, but on the whole, most were really damn good. I do like the new character Redcoat. He looks very interesting. Really made me go, huh? At the end, just trying to figure it out. But yeah, it's a very fun read.
Yeah, there's a lot of world building going on, specifically with Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've encountered this new Vegas that's there in this post-apocalyptic universe. After whatever nuclear fallout happens, we've seen it in Geiger. Obviously, the town's going to evolve too, and it's going to change over time. There's going to be new leaders and stuff. If you like Geoff Johns and you're interested in a new shared, I don't know if this is really a superhero universe. There are certainly some superhero kind of aspects. They do have powers. I wouldn't call this a traditional superhero universe, but it's something.
A dark twist on it. It's a darker, I don't want to say realistic, but, a more verisimilitudic world, with powers and people who have machine parts. Yeah.
I definitely say check that one out. Now you are recommending, I think this is the third month in a row on Echolands, huh?
Every issue has been fantastic. This issue was incredible. And what's incredible about this series, especially this issue and the most, is that we have different types of fictional characters from different types of fictional stories. And they're all illustrated in their own unique way in this series. So you have a Kirby character next to a horror character. It's great stuff. And in this world, they go to their this horror land, and it's all in black and white. If you love black and white horror films, you're going to love this issue. J.H. Williams, he is a god among artists right now.
I do have to ask. I haven't looked into this part specifically. Is this a miniseries? Is this ongoing?
I think it's going to be 12 issues.
Okay, so we're halfway there. If you're interested, There's still time to jump on, get caught up, and be ready for the it.
Absolutely, and they're putting out second prints of this all the time because people love it. They're putting out the raw cuts of the issues where you can see the black and whites of his work. Recommend every single one. And
I do want to point this out. If you haven't, we haven't talked about this. You haven't heard us talk about it already. This is not a traditionally formatted comic book. There's a reason it's scrolling left to right or right to left or whatever it is on here. It's because it's in landscape but longer. If it bothers you to have a comic book that doesn't fit on your shelf like all your other comic books, this might not be the comic book for you. But if you like an artist using a new format and kind of stretching out what a comic book can be, this is probably the comic book for you. Absolutely.
This stretches it out in every shape or form of the word. He's amazing what he's doing. I can't lost for words at his work.
Let's move over to Marvel Comics. I do think Marvel had a better week than DC, noticeably better, although they didn't have a great week. Me personally, I'm going to recommend Amazing Spider-Man 88. I'm not the biggest fan of the Beyond era. Like, I know you're a bigger fan than I personally am, but the issues with Zeb Wells have stood out to me as being very good. Cody Ziegler's stuff's been good too, or good as well. This time we have Michael Dowling on art. I don't love the art. I'm just going to put that one out here. But as the story goes, we got the introduction of the Goblin Queen. Unfortunately, they have already spoiled the actual identity of the character. I don't think the Goblin Queen herself actually stands out as particularly interesting or great, but the situation that they've put Ben in kind of put him to the test on what character he is and who he is going to be, and it's helping them to differentiate him from Peter. And it seems like, he definitely put MJ in harm's way in this issue. And they said, you might not know which Spider-Man you're going to be rooting for by the end, but it kind of feels like they're setting him up for a fall.
Yeah, they really are setting him up for a fall, and it's not really looking too good for him right now, especially at the – I mean, I don't know if at the end of this issue, I think I unintentionally laughed when he just took off with his girlfriend, left Mary Jane there. I'm like, wait, huh? But, yeah, they're really messing with his mind in this series, and they're doing a good job with it, and I do like that approach to it, and I really do hope we see, Peter come back, in my opinion, and maybe just set Ben straight.
Might need his ass kicked. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw. I was like, yep, somebody's going to get taught. Was it fuck around and find out? I think that's what Ben's about to, what he's doing right now. So I think it's very interesting. It's been good. I can't wait for the ASM relaunch, to be completely honest. I am a big Zeb Wells fan, so I enjoyed this here. You're sticking with Spider-Man, but we're getting Savage Spider-Man kind of rolling out of that nonstop Spider-Man from Joe Kelly, and I believe it was Bacalo was the artist. Yeah. They end up changing it over to Gerardo Sandoval. Now we're getting Savage Spider-Man. If you've ever wanted to see Spider-Man as a spider, this is your comic book.
Holy crap. Yeah, this issue. So I was not a fan at all of Nonstop Spider-Man. I thought it stunk. I thought it was terrible. And just to show I'm not a hater, Joe Kelly, he wrote this one, and I loved it. I love this issue from beginning to end. Like you said, it's Peter as a spider. And the way he's talking, monosyllabically. I think I said that right. But with words, hunger, eat, fight, just thinking like what probably a spider would. And you see him devouring a pig in this, which is hysterical. Yeah, this was fun and nasty, and I cannot wait to see where this goes to next. The art is much better than Chris Bacalo's art. The pacing in this is incredible. Joe Kelly knocked it out of the park.
Obviously, Joe Kelly is a very good comic book writer, so I'm not surprised that he knocked it out of the park. We shall see if that one sticks around. I imagine we'll probably get a follow-on to that. They like to kind of do trilogies. There's another book you wanted to specifically talk about. I already reviewed this kind of in full with Sabretooth #1, with Doc Victor Lavelle kind of making his Marvel debut on this one. I think it's fine, and I know you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. Kyle enjoyed Kyle. He said this is his favorite comic book ever. But there are certain pages in this when you've been dealing with all this X-Men, like characters acting out of character for so long, and you see Sabretooth more or less giving it to them royally in this issue. It's like a good, thank God, finally someone's talking sense. I loved it. And Sabretooth is absolutely savage in this, and it is bloody, nasty, and awesome.
A lot of faces and arms removed.
Absolutely, yes. A lot of dismemberment. A lot of things getting blown away. Just, love it.
Fans of the channel are going to know that I am not in a particularly good space, headspace for DC Comics right now. I think they are dropping the ball left and right. Every week, I pretty much read the Batman comics that are coming out for this week in Batman, and it feels like I'm almost reading everything or anything important that comes out every week. There's rarely anything worth recommending outside of a couple key titles like Flash, Robin, maybe an issue of Deathstroke Inc. or whatever. So I don't really have anything to recommend this week from DC because it was mostly Batman stuff again. It's really frustrating, Drew. I know this is the best of the week, and I've talked enough about DC, but God, there's too much fucking Batman. It is overwhelming their line.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And there's one thing I hate. It's like when we open up our boxes from Lunar, all I'm seeing are detective, Batman. I'm like, oh hey, I got one Teen Titans. Oh hey, I got one Suicide Squad. I hate seeing that. It's great to have that variety. We need that variety again. But like you said, The one book I will recommend is Batman this week. Batman 120. I mean, to me, the art in this was perfect. In my opinion, I loved the art in this, and the story was terrific, very fast paced. I love the twist with Lex Luthor in this. Batman Incorporated at the end, I loved it. Can't wait for the next issue.
All right, Drew. So I've reviewed this in full, and Josh and I were both confused. Maybe you can clear this up. What was the twist? They're on the roof. Batman's up there with Batman Incorporated. They're trying to escape. Lex Luthor shows up, and he's got the Batman suit on. And they're yelling at each other, and we know that Lex Luthor is the money behind Batman Incorporated. We've been duped. We got set up. And then he turns around. Then Abyss is with Batman Incorporated, and they say he's our leader. Yeah,
I think all the Batmen were taken over by the Abyss. All the Batmen have been turned. That's what I took it as.
I didn't see the eyes. Is that what I missed?
Yeah, I think that might have been what you missed. If you look at the eyes, I think they've been taken over.
I was like, why are they? This guy's funding them, and they're fake killing this guy so we can beat their leader. It's like this is pretty convoluted. I didn't notice the eyes. Oh my goodness, I missed something. It happens. I read so many comic books, Drew.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm with you, man. The art in here is really good. There's a couple of scenes with the detective and Bruce Wayne that I think were very effective. There was a couple of things. If he's blind and he's breaking into a prison, show it to me. You know what I mean? How the hell does he get that done?
That's fair.
But otherwise, it's another good issue. I do think that they are taxing Joshua Williamson too much. He has far too much on his plate, and I see that being a problem in the future.
That is 100% correct. And I really foresee it being a big problem if he's going to be doing the Death of the Justice League, the final Justice League Infinite Frontier Crisis, whatever it is, and Batman and Deathstroke Inc. Yeah, I think his plate is too full right now, in my opinion, and I don't want to.
He's got the Shadow War event coming up, which is going to be Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke Inc. Yep. That's an event book. He's setting up this next crisis, which includes the Death of the Justice League Incarnate, and another title that's going to come out after that. And he's got Rogues coming up. It's like this dude.
This is too much. This is way too much.
It's because DC got rid of all their really seasoned, talented writers. And there's no one left capable of doing this, so he's going to do all of it, I think.
It's a shame. It's like it really makes you wish someone like Peter Tomasi would step up and give a hand, and help him out, or someone like
they got Ian Jurgens, Peter Tomasi, you got Robert Venditti, who's done event books over at Valiant Comics. They've got some people to do it.
Yeah, especially Dan. Yeah, geez. Yeah. And he's been doing crises for who knows how long at this point, since Armageddon 2001. Yeah.
Sold 1 million copies.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Yeah, that's a great guy to feed off for advice, how to do it.
So I believe he had a big hand in the Clone Saga and whatnot. So those are our comic book recommendations. I am admittedly, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be a positive. I'm DC Comics is bothering me, but fortunately, there were definitely some comic books worth reading on the indie scenes with Geiger, 80-page giant. If you're interested in that universe, that is must read. Echolands #6. Drew cannot sing its praises any louder. We've also got Amazing Spider-Man 88 as we're wrapping up the Beyond era. Savage Spider-Man #1 and Sabretooth #1 as comic books you should check out. And Batman 120 is definitely good.
Absolutely.
But I've had enough. I've read enough Batman.
Yes, we have. We all have. Yeah. Just give him a break, please.
If you're looking for a DC comic that looks like it's probably going to be fun in the future, I talked about this yesterday. They're actually going to have a dinosaur Batman in the Jurassic League, which is like dinosaur Justice League, I guess. The idea sounds stupid enough, but I really like Daniel Warren Johnson. I think you guys like this video. There might be brighter days ahead for DC Comics.